Hello and welcome to PCP Deep Dive, Pop Culture Pro's home for everything obsessively watched. We are continuing our journey on the nightmares and dreamscapes of Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. Tonight we're here talking Wes Craven's Final Nightmare. But before we get into that, with me as always, my man in the chair, my technical guru, who are you in this movie? You are you're Heather Langenkamp's husband. You are the person who creates the Freddy glove.
Okay.
Ed, how are you?
Chase, what's up, guys? What's going on?
And the birthday boy.
Happy birthday.
Let's not forget the birthday boy, too.
Yes, thank you. Nothing else better to do, right? Than
happy
on my
birthday.
Talk Freddy.
That's right, talking Freddy. And Freddy wants to wish you a happy birthday, bitch.
You gotta always get the bitch.
What he does.
Can't forget the bitch.
So you gotta get it in there. Joining us as always, the John Saxon of the group, because you know what, Tim, I've been saying you were the dad of the group this whole time, but now the big reveal is you are famed actor John Saxon in real life.
I am.
How are you, Tim?
I show up in weird places and just call everybody my daughter. It's kind of weird.
You don't feel like a daughter to you, is what you're saying.
I'll take it. He fought alongside Bruce Lee, so I'll take it.
That's true, actually.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And as always, the best damn final girl this side of Elm Street, the Heather Langenkamp to my Freddy. Ginny, how are you today, Ginny?
I'm good. I'm tired. Like Heather Langenkamp, I didn't get any sleep last night. I just woke up at 3 and I stayed awake for a while. So I'm on a good place now for this movie.
Well, maybe you're in the best place for it.
Look at that baby. That's a little. Look at that child there. Age appropriate child for this movie.
Thankfully, I didn't hear anything because I got my headphones in, so he can only hear me. I just have to be careful. But not with us as always. But my son Finn, who just crawled into my lap when he's supposed to be in bed. But I'll get to that in a moment. But I am your host, Jason. I think I am the sleep demon this time. I think I am Freddy in this one because I think I'm the only one who would be able to pull off a green fedora in this group.
And the
because
trench
you
coat.
know my love of fedoras.
Yes. And
the trench coat. He's Freddy.
Scary trench coat.
And the trench coat. Like Freddy was dressing like me because I was dressing like that in high school, and this came out when I was in high school. Freddy was trying to be me in this movie.
Who would have saw that one coming?
What a twist. M. Night Shyamalan wrote this story. But anyway, we're here talking Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is, I think, a controversial film in the franchise because it is the movie that brings Freddy back to life after Freddy's dead, after they kill him. But he isn't really Freddy, but he is, and that's kind of where the conversation, I think, goes, is like, I think I want to talk, is this movie as bad as everyone says it is, or as maligned as everyone says it is? That's what I'm going to get to by the end. But before that, we always have a tradition of what is your relationship to this movie? So, Tim, I don't usually start with you on this, so I'm going to start with you.
I don't like this movie. I never did. I never have. I liked Freddy. I thought Freddy was awesome in this, though. His look was fantastic. He was scary looking. I just realized too today, watching this movie today, that I don't think I've ever finished it until today. That's how much I disliked it. Either that or I missed pieces somehow, because there were certain scenes where I was like, I don't remember this. I don't remember this either. I don't know what's going on here. And if I hear the name Dylan or that kid scream one more time, I'm going to kill myself because, wow, are they annoying in this movie. Wow. That's all I'm going to say until we get into it.
All right, so I think I know why on the "is this rightly maligned" scale.
Very in the lead.
But yeah, all right, excellent. Ginny, what's your history with this movie? Do you have a history with this movie?
I have a very extensive history with this movie. Starting with it is like that weird memory of Freddy movies. There were so many when I was a kid. But the time this one came out, like they were all like blending together in a weird way. Like I had never seen the first one, even though that's iconic. I had to wait till like I Love the 80s came out until I knew what that was. But I saw this one on TV and you're like, what the F is going on? Like, this is his babysitter, his mom, but she kind of looks young to me. So she was like, and that voice was still happening. And there was a child being stalked. And as a kid, you're like freaked out. But then like you push it aside, you don't look at it till like years later when I'm rewatching the whole series. And then this ends up being like one of the movies that me and my sister just fall asleep to a lot of the time when we would go to bed at like in high school, like put in the VHS player or DVD player. But like that and the last one for no good reason. So this is kind of comforting to me. Like that music, that is comforting to me. And me and my sister also watch it every year. We just made it a part of our like end of February. We have like a holiday for it, but we're just like, and this one, it should be a different one, but it's this one. And it's a kind of a boring one. It's slower. It's his Scream movie. It's meta. I just am the whole beginning to me, but like you, I never finish this movie sometimes. So I fall asleep during it. I'll get to like Chase, her husband gets killed. And then I'm like, honestly, so it's kind of funny to like finish it, but it's like very soothing. It's like very early 90s. And I love that. Like a little like that era of like being a housewife seems great to me. And then early 90s, like mid 90s. I love this movie a lot. And then the Freddy is really scary to me. So I just have, those are my, I have a fondness for this one. I do.
I'll be honest with you. I would love to be a housewife in the mid 90s.
Don't you though? Look at those chairs.
You know,
like light wood chairs.
Yeah, right.
Husband's
exactly.
a makeup designer. You're in LA.
And if these movies taught me anything, it's I can drink in the afternoon with no repercussions. I could be a terrible parent, no repercussions. I want that. All right. So my history with this movie, I'm saving you for last because you always have the best Freddy stories when it comes to your history. So you're getting saved for last for this one.
I think I told you mine last night.
You did, no, but no one else heard it. So my relationship to this movie is, it is the first Freddy movie I saw in the theater. Freddy's Dead was my first Freddy movie. That was the movie that I got overcame my fear. And so the next step of that was New Nightmare, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I think we were 16 when it came out, Ed, right? 15,
no, we were
16?
younger than that because this was 1994. So we were like, I want to say freshman year of IAT.
Okay, wow, okay. But yeah, I saw this in the theater, like when it came out. So I was in high school, young high school. I enjoyed it when I saw it because it didn't scare me, and that was my big thing with those movies. I didn't want to be scared by them. But I can't say that I really appreciated it until I watched it later on as I got older. But it has a place in my heart because it's the first movie of his I saw in the theater.
Nice.
Ed, what about you?
All right. So by the way, just double check. No, it was October '94. So we were just starting sophomore year actually. We were in
okay.
HSES
That makes more sense.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, we were in the city for a year.
Yeah. I saw this movie with Francisco, our friend Burr, and I'm sure Steve was there, and I don't remember else. I don't know. There was a group of us that went, and we saw it in the Ridgewood Theater on Myrtle Avenue, which isn't there anymore. R.I.P. Ridgewood Theater, and we loved it. Honestly, I've always loved this one. But this also gave the birth of something that Tim, you may or may not know about this. Like my friend Francisco has like this big laugh and everything like that. And in the theater, he does get caught by jump scares a lot. So this was the one that I remember when this shit first started, he started to do. When Freddy pops out and says, "Miss me." And it is a big jump scare was like one of my favorite shots in the movie. When that happened, he jumped like out of his chair, scared, and grabbed me. He was like, I got you. I'm like, dude, no, nope, that didn't happen. You got fucking scared, and now you're trying to pass it on to somebody else. And that became like a running thing, like to this day still. It's just like it was like that. But no, I mean, this movie I've always, like Tim had mentioned it, and Jenny's like, I've always loved Freddy's look in this movie. Like they changed it up and everything because, like you, and I'm sure we'll dive into, is because it's him and it's not him. Like we were even discussing this like last night over a couple of beers. Was it's an interesting concept. It's like a way to like bring him back, but like not bring him back in a weird way. And I just think that in some ways it was like ahead of its time. That some fans were not ready for it or not. And again, you can like it or not like it. I mean, whatever. You're not right or wrong. But I don't know. I kind of think it was ahead of its time. Like Wes Craven did Scream a couple of years later, and it was like a meta horror movie. And this was his first meta horror movie for it. So I think it was an interesting connection. Like it's like it's an interesting entry into the whole genre, let alone just the franchise.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So before we dive into picking it apart, I think we got to do something a little different because usually we don't usually give a synopsis of the movie because the movie is usually Freddy has come back 5 minutes before the last movie ended, and now he's still on a killing spree, and someone else comes around who can put him down until the end of the movie. This one, like it's the same story, but this is a bit different. So I just want to briefly, for those listening who may not have seen this or may not have seen it in a while, just to give a brief synopsis. So the movie takes place in reality, our reality, in the 90s, in a world post Freddy's dead, where everyone's clamoring for Freddy to come back, and they are Wes Craven has started working on a script, and he's trying to get everyone back, trying to get the Langenkamp back. And as this is happening, everyone's having nightmares of murders with this mechanical Freddy glove, or it's Freddy related. And the whole thing is, and Wes Craven gives this in probably my favorite like exposition dump ever, where he's talking about like his script, and the way he explains Freddy is not Freddy. He's a dream demon that is taking Freddy's form because he was trapped there. Now that the Freddy stuff is over, and he likes the form, but he wants to use it to break into reality. And as the movie goes on, and it stars Heather Langenkamp and Robert Englund, and Wes Craven's in it, and all the other, like John Saxon's in it. And as we go on, it starts to blur between fact and fiction, and Heather Langenkamp starts to become her character Nancy. As Tim made the comment before, John Saxon just becomes his character of the cop, and so and then she has to battle Freddy, the dream demon Freddy, because he's trying to pretty much take her son, who is, and that's one thing we really have to talk about, her son, but because he is this conduit that'll allow him to get through. So did I miss anything? Was that a good enough surmise of the movie?
Spot on.
Yeah, that was good.
That's good. It's kind of like a little simple, but it's also like you didn't take to it at first, or it's just like such a weird concept. And if you go from Freddy's dead to this movie, like what a shock. Especially you, Jason, who was like, I'm over my fear. I can take a Freddy now. And then this is a weird existential, like philosophical like Freddy. I don't know. It's a crazy switch.
Yeah, agreed. So let's get into Freddy. Because I think Freddy is the big talking point. So I think that's where we should start. Because as Ed said, it's Freddy, but it's not Freddy. So whoever wants to take it? Because I don't want to. I know Ed likes this movie. I know Tim hates this movie. Ginny, I haven't figured out yet. I don't want to be biased because I know where I am. So who wants to start the discussion about how you feel about Freddy in this movie?
I don't know, Tim.
Love fest it up.
Well, I'll do it, but I mean,
well, you I was talking about. Well, first of all, my favorite scene in this whole movie, which pretty much sums up the previous six, is Robert Englund coming out in the talk show dressed as Freddy, running up the stairs, high-fiving these kids who should be absolutely terrified of him. Nope. Freddy has become a cultural icon. High five. You're all my children now. Probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen because I think that's hysterical. I mean, be honest. If he showed up at one of our parties, like we'd all be like, "Yeah, looking Freddy." We wouldn't care. We wouldn't care. As far as Dream Demon guy, Freddy
I love
goes,
in that scene, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but in that scene, I love how gleeful he is because he's running around like, yeah, like he's kind of like that's rock star Freddy.
Yeah, rock star for Give Me Five. No one's seen him in a while. The fans are clamoring for him to come back. They want him back. He's out. I mean, he could have went on that show dressed as Robert Englund. He said, no. I'm going out there as Freddy.
Yeah,
surprise.
exactly.
Heather Langenkamp.
That's a Robert Englund move. That's a Robert Englund move in real life.
Exactly. Even Heather Langenkamp at first was terrified, but then she couldn't help but smile and laugh. And then again, that smile again went back to, oh shit, maybe this isn't a good idea. The way she went back and forth was great. Yes, that was my favorite scene probably in the entire movie. But what are we gonna call him? Demon Freddy? New Freddy? What do we want to call him?
Well, I think that's where the discussion's gonna, the meat of this is gonna go.
New Fred and Freddy Classic. We're gonna call him, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, Demon Freddy. Demon Freddy. Yeah, but Freddy, the demon guy. Ooh, man, he is terrifying. He is scary as shit. Like I said, that part with the when he pops on the covers, scary as hell. I really like the character. I really like. My whole problem is. I guess the story. I don't know. I'm on the fence with this movie right now. I think I was a little bored with it, and I said that kid drove me insane. That kid drove me absolutely insane. So, and I said the acting is just terrible. Some of them. Heather Langenkamp looked fantastic. I'll throw that out there real quick.
He looks gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
I had a crush on her in this.
I say that every day in my life, and I'm like, and it's 10 years. It's literally 10 years after the first movie, which I just love.
And this is the best she's ever looked. I think she looked the best in this one.
Oh yeah,
getting better looking, which is good. No, but the new Freddy is I really like that look. If you're gonna go different, they pulled off a hell of a good job. The makeup is great. The eyes were fantastic, and who thought a little something like a trench coat could make it look pretty badass, but it did. So as far as new Fred goes, I dug him. It wasn't Freddy, but it was Freddy, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? That's all I got.
Awesome. Ed, Ginny?
I'll say for me, Freddy was, again, I just think terrifying in that you don't see him. It's always like the beginning of the movie, it's claw. It's that claw. It was the mechanical claw at first. And it's like even the husband's like death is like just the hand and just you don't see his face. We don't like reveal it to the end, which is very scary. And then when he is revealed, and then there's some cheesy stuff towards the end, of course, which is like some CGI stuff. But when you get to that final like battle, as an adult, the Terrifier clown really still gets to me. Like I kind of am like, if I see that just before like I go to bed, like, and if it's dark outside, I go, okay, so the Terrifier clown is in the room with me, even though I'm an adult, like he's in my basement, like that's my thought process. And same for this Freddy, where I go, oh, Freddy, my beloved Freddy that I have like pictures of, and that I like, have all the VHSs of. This Freddy, I think, is like living, like would get my bed, and just like the movements, the laughs, his laughs were like more whispery. Is meaner, and also the angles were like the way it was directed was like he would get too close to like the camera, and you're like, I don't like that. Like it's not just like he was very and it's also there's the fairy tale aspect, which I like that he's like a witch in a way, which is like, and there's a child and he wants to eat you. That was like some insane stuff by Wes Craven to like, because he wrote it, right? So it's like he threw that in the end. The imagery is insane. It's like some demon stuff, but very fairy tale. The horrific fairy tale stuff was kind of is pretty brilliant. But you have to wait to that end though. That end scene's the big dream stuff.
Yeah, I agree with. I just wanted to talk about. I'm sorry, the fairy tale stuff. Like I thought that was such a brilliant thing because the whole conceit of this movie is that this demon is caught in stories that really permeate in the cultural mind, at like Freddy, which was fairy tales, right? People were afraid of fairy tales, so you can kind of think at some point this demon was a witch from a fairy tale. You know what I mean?
Ooh. And then this is our new fairy tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, and proving that those fairy tales are some of them are scarier than any shit we see in the movies. You know, witch shoving a kid into an oven for Christ's sake. There's nothing nice about that. I don't want to hear that.
Not at all.
I don't want to hear that before I go to bed at night.
In Cinderella, you cut off feet in Cinderella. That was like that's the
Yeah.
original text, and like my gosh, witches, you know, Snow White, like choking, strangulation, all of it's awful.
Well, the stuff about Freddy though, like I will say, this movie, Wes Craven actually did what the franchise needed for it to do at the time, and I felt like the showing Robert Englund being Rockstar Freddy, I guess we'll call him briefly in that scene, like was showing what that was his commentary on where the franchise was at the time and what they did with the character, right? And then they're like, oh, so you like this guy? He's fun. His posters on your wall, this and that, blah blah blah. But then I'm gonna give you like this like Freddy 2.0, who is none of that whatsoever. He is frightening now. We're gonna bring him back to where we think he needs to be. And Wes, I think, does a great job. And I, like I said, that's his commentary on the franchise. Also in an exposition dump, he also does take a shot at the franchise with saying, like, you know, the character, once it gets watered down and stuff over sequels and stuff like that, like he was flat out saying, you know, what they did from the original form. So
look what they did to my boy. But also the fact that you said it's Freddy 2.0. I like that. Because I think Freddy versus Jason has a version of that version is so like not different, but just like a weird version of like a different different forms, like an evolved Freddy is like in Freddy versus Jason. This is truly is like 2.0, where it's just the looks there and he's doing some of the same bits, but the jokes aren't funny and it's just scary.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like so like even think about it, right? Even the look. We were in our last episode with Freddy's Dead. We were all ripping how awful Freddy's makeup was in that movie. Like it was just goofy and dumb and everything like that. And like this movie takes the makeup even and brings it like back to like a scary horror look, not a burn victim at all. He's just a demon of some sort that again that resembles Freddy in just a much darker version. And even like Robert Englund to play another version of Freddy it's a lot of props. You really think about this movie. There's a lot of like genius shit that went into it when in the context that we're looking at it within the franchise. It's just like, wow, like they gave the audience really what they were kind of clamoring for at the time.
We would have, if this had just, I don't know, been released now, it's like the meta stuff of it, like, you know, like maybe it would have been like when it get nominated for awards, but I think we would really like be clamoring over it, like A24 style, like new release. But also like, and for Robert Englund, like the way he is such a dork in this movie, and then he's like one of the scariest Freddys. I'm obsessed with that, and I love that he's just like so Hollywood, and he's scared of himself.
Yes, he leaves, and we actually don't find out what happened to him. He just leaves.
He was like,
and it was like, I'm done painting. I'm out. Like, I'm out of here. And he just gone. Like, it's over.
I do love that moment where she calls, and they're like, oh, no, they're gone. And the last time we saw him was painting. And, and you're like, and that was kind of like the jump scare was that it goes back, and you see that he's painting like Freddy, like, I thought that was awesome. And Ginny, I second that. Like the fact that Robert Englund in the beginning of this is so personable. We get Rockstar Freddy. He's very fun. Like he's he's a good guy, right? I mean, he's Robert Englund. He's just a fun guy, an actor.
So was
enjoying his fame.
Like, hi Heather, hi baby. Oh, you're good. You're good. Okay, we love you. Bye. Like, so cute.
Right.
Yeah.
But then he winds up being the scariest Freddy.
Yes, and it's just I don't know. And then like when he's a demon, like his ears look different and stuff. The claw isn't like it's an actual claw. It's 5 fingers that is his hand with a bone. Like there's
bone.
This guy didn't go into the into the boiler room. This guy didn't like chase kids around. He didn't torture poor Jesse or anything like that. He didn't do any of that crap. Like this is just a completely different level of like evil in this, and it's cool. Even that, and Ginny, you mentioned like the CGI. The CGI in this movie does show that it's dated. Like I'll admit that. I even feel like we got better CGI in previous installments than in this one. I don't know why. Like it doesn't hold up at all. But that scene over the highway when he's got Dylan and he's like dangling him and stuff like that, which I also thought was kind of like a somewhat of a callback to the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 with like Philip and stuff. There are really clever callbacks throughout this movie to various parts of it.
Them, yes.
Yeah.
And when we get to the end, I clocked like they reference every kill in the first one, in the first movie. Like the long arms. At one point, Freddy outstretches his arms in his long arms. You get the murder with the moving room where she's murdered up the wall. We don't get like the wall of the blood, but we do get like the Freddy's glove coming up from the chair of the car right before he kills Chase, and like that's definitely like a nod to right, exactly. So I like every one of those except the hanging. The hanging is the only one I didn't see.
Yeah, and they even talk about like that weird creepy limo driver talks about like Glenn's death.
Okay.
I love that creepy limo driver.
Yeah, that guy's weird. He's like the second scariest guy in this whole movie.
He's so satisfying to me.
But he's a guy who loves his life because he's literally skipping to the limo, like, oh yeah, go to take Heather Langenkamp to a show.
Like the stars.
That's me at work. So I can't. But anyone else notice why was it necessary for Freddy to tap Chase's package before he killed him? He gave him a little tap.
Question. I don't know. I just don't like that.
But you noticed it, right? I'm the only one noticed that. He did a little love tap.
No. I noticed it.
Okay. I thought I was going crazy.
He's just gonna give him like he was being messed up. He's just giving him a quick tap.
Little tap on the head, just so you know what's going on in there.
That he's gonna go for something else.
Yeah, I did. I was like, oh no, please don't do that.
I just think Freddy's very scary in this. His sweater, the trench coat, because he's never worn a trench coat ever.
Green. The hat's green now.
The hat's green,
which is different. Even though I think
it works. It works with the eyes. It works with it all works together very nicely.
Yeah, I agree.
God, I love this look. It is scary. He looks tall. He looks big, and because Robert Englund's like 5'10", he's not like short, but he's like 5'10". Like it's like he's not 6 foot. I just feel like he looks like 6 feet at all times. Maybe because there's a child involved, but I was like, he looks broader. He looks taller. Yeah, it's weird.
And he does say bitch towards the end of it. He does call Heather Langenkamp a bitch, of course, at the end.
He does.
You can't have an Elm Street. You can't have a Freddy appearance without that.
I'm running away, bitch. You're on your own. So in a small way, this is Friday the 13th Part 5. Because I'm putting it together now. Because Friday the 13th Part 5 was not Freddy. It was not Jason.
Yeah. Me and my sister talk about this a lot too, where we get mad about it.
And he comes back in 6 when Tommy brings him back to life. So this isn't really Freddy. He is in hell. Until Freddy and Jason.
It's also very Jason Goes to Hell, which is not Jason the whole time. It's Jason, but it's not Jason. It's like everyone else but Jason.
Oh, the mythology of that movie is weird.
I know.
But, well, it's like, I guess it's like yes and no, because like this one, I mean, this is not, there's no Springwood, there's no nothing, like none of that, it's just, I don't know, none of that.
Because it's reality, it's not Freddy. It's this demon who likes Freddy, who wants to shape Freddy and Be like him.
Well, the thing is though, the
This is where the lines get blurred a little too much because you're
well, that's the thing
you
though.
know.
But Wes does a good job explaining it, that there's the demon that was trapped in the movies, right, with the likeness of Freddy, and now like obviously is basically has taken the form of Freddy, and now wants to jump into reality. Like he's been freed of the films now that Freddy's Dead happened, and you know it's over and the story's over essentially. And even though 9 years later it comes back, but like he crosses over into you know reality, which is a thing Freddy attempted on multiple occasions apparently that
But
we've seen.
he crossed over into reality, which is still a movie.
Yeah.
The movie within a movie is the dude.
Ah.
He was the dude who's playing the dude who's disguised as another dude.
Exactly.
That's right. My thing with Freddy, and this is actually something I realized just when I watched it the other night, is he's like everyone else in this movie. Like he's an actor playing a part, right? But instead of like being the Heather Langenkamp, who's an actress who played Nancy, he's a demon that played Freddy for so long, and now the lines are also blurred for him, right? Because you see him, and I think that's the point of all the callbacks. I don't think it's just a nod and a wink, like you get it. I think it's the meta concept of this is Freddy trying to do what Freddy did in the movie in real life, because he's an actor playing Freddy, because that's what he was cast as. Much like John Saxon is playing Heather Langenkamp's father, and then by the end he becomes her father, right? Like they become the characters, and I think that's the whole point. Is he's really just like them, but he's trying to make this reality, and they're trying to fight it. I thought that was such an interesting take on the character.
Yeah, that's like more like you bringing it. You're literally, it's not just your dreams. It's your dream. You die, you're dead. He's in there in your brain. This is like, let me warp reality, because I'm sure a demon would have that power, and you're like that your life around it. That's like, you can't undream that, right? You can't just like fix your reality.
Yeah, and his whole thing is and Wes explains this to Heather Langenkamp in the movie, is that he wants revenge on you because you're the first one who embarrassed him, who turned your back on him, like who defeated him and stuff. So for him, this is him trying to get revenge, like in the first place, because of how he was, defeated. It's really interesting when you break it down and you think about it. It's
he's chosen her for like maybe not even a good reason, because she's like, I'm just an actress, and he's like, no, you did the weird thing.
You did it.
Your art has power. Your art has power. Wes Craven's like, yeah.
So by the way, so that makes Heather Langenkamp in reality the Dream Master. He is actually the Dream Master.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. That's a good
beautiful
point.
I love Wes Craven in this movie. I love the way he talks when he's just like, because he's not an actor, but he's just like so real and gentle. And he's like, no, it was you. You did it. You gave her power. So now you have to go feed this. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah. And he seems genuinely frightened. And every time we see him in this movie.
He's very soft. That's also I love about
he's because he's having these dreams. Like I was telling you about this last night. The creepiest moment in this movie for me, the scariest moment, was not any of the Freddy stuff. It's when she's frantically trying to figure out when Wes started writing the movie, and she's told, I don't know, or where he was in the movie, rather. Like, where is he in the movie? And the producer's like, I don't know. Last time I talked to him, he said he was where Dylan was, trying to touch God. And it happened like 3 scenes before. And it was at that moment like, oh my God, he's having visions of the future or visions of what Freddy wants the future to be. And he's writing it. And that's why it's becoming reality. And it was just so meta. And so that moment was so creepy for me.
Yeah, it is. And everyone's just probably nicely discussing, like, it's even more suspenseful. It's not that you don't see him a lot of the time. Maybe a little bit of a phone call, but then just the tension, the music, and then everyone's just being like, "What happened?" Like, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's very, in hindsight, it's very suspenseful.
Well, the first time we see him is at the funeral. Is at Chase's funeral when he's in and he pulls Dylan down. We
Oh,
only see him briefly.
Oh, that actually really freaks me out too. Actually, I think about
Yeah, because he looks like he's like
Slither.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. He's like crawling out,
Yeah.
and he just pulls Dylan down quickly, and we don't. We abruptly see him.
That's a shock. That is a shock too, because he's just like it looks normal. Everything looks pretty real, and then it's just like and it's just like a It's so good. That's like the
and it's
first
like daytime and everything like that. Like this is not usually when you see Freddy like at all.
And then there's a pit.
Yeah, because this Freddy doesn't really need a dream, right? He doesn't need a dreamer.
No,
I mean,
not necessarily.
The trauma of Nancy losing her husband, which is pretty dark, and just like that would also throw
Very
you
dark.
into that raises stakes to be like, you have a shock, you have trauma, you're not over your husband's death. We totally understand. She's like, no, I'm still being absolutely stalked by a demon. But that everyone's kind of like, you need sleep. You're not sleeping. We understand. There's been a loss. Your son doesn't understand. He has, there's unresolved things going on, which just is upsetting because then you're like, no one believes you, and everyone's just writing it off to like, maybe you're overtly tired, and you are tired, but I don't know. I guess it is. But I feel it's got to be dreams still, right? But then how does he get the babysitter?
This is why I have.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think
it blurs too much for me.
But I think that's part of the point, is that like there is dreams that's where it starts, and then eventually goes further. Because like at the end, like Heather Langkamp's not sleeping when that whole thing happens, right? Like Dylan is sleeping.
Dylan is. They give Dylan the sleeping pills.
Exactly, and that's kind of what like unleashes him, to go out the whole thing. And then when he pops up in the bed next to like Heather Langenkamp is sleeping at that point. He's trying not to again, and of course doing the whole drinking coffee and taking things like just like in the movies and within canon movies.
Yeah.
And everyone becomes the parents, just telling everyone they just need to go to sleep and that's it. I was just waiting for that kind of
and
thing.
even going
your
so
nails.
far as
Not
to
dreaming.
drug
cut your
the
nails,
kid,
ass. Yeah, exactly. But dude, one of my favorite callbacks in this movie is the "screw your past" line. The fact that they thought enough to say that specific line, I was laughing my ass off out loud because I actually forgot that was in this, and I was like, "Yes, that's what I'm talking about here."
So about favorite lines, I also love Robert Englund being like, they'd love to see us in another movie together. And she's like, oh, what, a romantic comedy? And he goes, well, just because it's a love story doesn't mean it can't have a decapitation or two. That's cute. And I love the babysitter's line. It's so funny. He's so cute and charming. And then when the babysitter has a line where she's like, they have the two needles and the nurse is going to like threaten to hit her or like just has it. And the babysitter is like, I'm going to get you. And the nurse is like, you don't want to do that. And she goes, oh, well, I know what's in that one. Do you have any idea what's in this one or what's going to happen when I stick you with it? And I will. It's cute. It's so cute.
Or
that was awesome.
Ever play Skin the Cat when he's going ahead and like dragging her off the thing?
Oh, it's scary. Again, talk about because it's not even just like I don't know. When you have a one-liner, you can make it like scary. They make it scary.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the big difference, right? With this Freddy, like this Freddy. 1 second, buddy. This Freddy is scary, right? Like this Freddy's still giving one-liners, but he is doing it in a way that it's menacing. He's not like, ever play Skin the Cat? Let's go to the beach, like which we would have gotten in past ones where he's clearly like joking, but here he's not. It's him trying to do what Freddy does, except he's not really Freddy. He's way more menacing and scary, and that's why his becoming terrifying
to a toddler. He's like, I don't know, like just cut, and it's like, oh my god, it's not like a teenager that you don't, I don't know, a disposable teen. It's like a little kid.
Yeah, he doesn't. Well, I mean, I guess the babysitter. No, she's not a teen in this stage. She's probably like early 20s or something. There's no murdering of teens in this movie. He's going after an actual toddler, and he's murdering adults in this movie.
Going after a child.
Yeah.
Also, I had the Rex stuffy that he has, that stuffed animal.
With the slashes in it?
the slashes in it. But we had that growing up,
okay.
which is
Nice.
actually scarier to me when you see that and you're like Rex, and it's just like your kid is a stuffed animal. It's like so special. But we had that as kids. It was like must have been a popular kind of like stuffed animal. We had those animals.
I actually love the idea of having the stuffed animal as sort of play the same symbolic role as the cross in the first one, right? Because Nancy in the first one's using the cross like as her comfort to keep him away, and here we have this kid using a fucking stuffed dinosaur, which I thought was a very interesting choice. But I really liked it.
It's also something so sweet and cute. Again, maybe it's my parent, but I'm like, that it's shocking when it's like Rex got a hit. I'm like, what do you mean? And like, oh, Freddy's real, he's back. But then they fix him. And also, he's like the friend, like the boy always keeps screaming for Rex, and it's like, was Wes Craven a parent at this point? It's just so interesting that I feel like he's got these like, as a parent, he kind of nails that the fact that your kid might need like counseling and like therapy and there's mental illness in my family, and that's gonna I passed on to my child. I was like, Wes Craven, it's a Freddy movie. You don't have to do this. It's maybe a little too not melodramatic, but I was like,
Rex holds him at bay for a lot of the movie, though. He seems to be like doing his job.
He does,
because he doesn't like come out for a while until he's like until obviously all help.
I had a health class
until the hospital when Rex is left behind, right?
Yeah. Again, the parents fucking up.
Well, then also
the adults.
I had a health class in college that was like, talk about physical health, eating well, but also like spiritual health in a way. But it could have been like a cross or whatever is your faith. But they also said like a token, like a symbolism that you like love, like a stuffed animal, like something someone passed down to you that you like sort of like a totem that you like cherish. And they asked us to bring it in and talk about it a little bit. But it could have been a cross, could have been anything, but something that was sort of like special to you, which I think is very interesting. That's like, but we love stuffed animals as kids. You had something that was very like, I can't go, I need it with me at all times. So that's Craven. I don't know.
That was a lot.
My daughter has a pillow. It's been around since the beginning of time. It's basically just feathers and a little ball now. We can't get rid of it. So.
Just the energy is there. Magic.
I said rewatching it again. Not my favorite. I think the kid really annoyed me. Really, really annoyed me. I mean, I'm used to him, just no fair, daddy, and going away, or penis vagina kid, and that's the end of it. Ha ha ha. He given him the whole movie.
Penis vagina kid.
Yeah.
And that's Gage from
Pet Cemetery.
Fucking Pet Cemetery.
I didn't even realize that.
So I'm already traumatized because Pet Cemetery traumatizes me. But I think the kid really annoyed me in this movie. That's part of my problems with it.
But, he annoys me when he gets like dead-eyed scary. It's like, yeah. And she's like, stop. And like trying to shake him out of it.
Oh yeah, and then when she stops him from watching Nightmare on Elm Street and he flips out.
Screams. He just screams. I was like, oh. I was like, no, man, no. I think that's what it was.
Can I just bring up real quick that scene in the hospital where the nurse is grilling Heather Langenkamp about her parenting, and she just keeps going, so you let him watch your movies, right? It's like, no, I wouldn't let him watch those movies. That's terrible. And then like he makes a Freddy reference, and she's like, oh, see, I told you to let him watch your movies. And like it's like, no, every kid knows who Freddy is. I don't know. That scene I just thought was hysterical. I was really angry at the nurse.
He's like Santa Claus or something. He's like Santa Claus or like like the Tooth Fairy. Every kid knows who he is. Kind of true.
I like the fact that I bet over the year, like, hey, how did they get Tina to go up that wall like that? And what did it look like? Well, in this one, we're going to show you what it looked like. And now we're going to see Freddy walking up the wall, dragging her around up there. And I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. Like that a pretty cool callback, kind of.
Yeah, but now he's fully visible. Yeah. Ugh. And it's weird. That's even worse, like in a way. It's like white room. It's scary. And that's like when you fully see him, I feel like. I do hate it. And it's brutal. Because she's a good, I don't know, we liked her. And she was saving, It's weird. Ugh.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Apparently, a year ago there was a unofficial sequel short film made called Dylan's New Nightmare.
Oh Jesus! Is he just
Haven't-
screaming?
I
No,
haven't
yeah, and Miko Hughes, who's the kid who's actually in it, and it's
what's that?
Wow,
that
you
Freddy
guys-
is trying to come back again.
You guys are so lucky I didn't know about that, or I would have made you watch it for this episode.
That I like. I like that idea though.
Wow,
I want to
was
see it now.
Not aware.
Is it on YouTube?
I'm sure it is. I mean, wow. Maybe for next week, next time we might have to throw this on. See if
Yeah,
can
maybe we
find
should
it
throw
in
that
there.
on when we do the next episode.
Yeah. Wow. The rabbit holes we go down.
Seriously. So I will say that there aren't many kills in this one, right? What do we get? 3 proper kills?
Chase.
Right? I mean, there's a lot of dream kills. I think the dream kills are cool, but yeah, we get Chase. We get the babysitter.
The 2 special effects guys. They die in the beginning, but then that was a dream, and that never happened.
Right,
But
but
then
they
die
die on
off
screen. Yeah.
Yeah, the die off
Okay.
screen.
I do love that first kill. That first kill is pretty great.
35 minutes on YouTube.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Oh, there we go.
All right, next time.
Favoriting that.
Yeah, it's all over the place, so we got it. Definitely have it.
I actually, Jenny, didn't realize. So you just said that. I think it's super interesting that they showed us the first 2 kills in the dream, and then killed those 2 people off screen, and it doesn't feel like a cheat because we showed you their deaths. It was just wasn't their real deaths. I don't know. It's Wes Craven playing with the meta aspect of this.
And he says that too. He's like, they didn't show up for the job because they're knuckleheads. And she's like, no, like what really happened to them? And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, I'll find. I'll get in the car and I'll drive to you. But they probably did die like that. They probably did kill like their throats gone.
Yeah, I would imagine that's how they went.
That's awful. That was a bad one.
And the babysitter. So there's 4.
There's 4, which I think that's one more than Dream Child, isn't it? Was it Dream Child
Dream
that
Child
had
was-
only 3?
Dream Child really has no deaths. That's interesting. Has 2, like 2,
Yeah.
3.
Well, yeah, there's the comic book kid, and there was Greta
Greta,
and Dan.
and Dan.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's already up. It's already up the ante from Dream Child.
A little bit.
A low,
Low bar.
A low bar for some, but you know.
Oh yeah, very high bar for Ginny. I'm sorry, I forgot what
Yes,
show it was on.
exactly. But I don't know. What else did I say? Well, do you want to just hit references that were made from previous films though, like the
Yeah.
mush stairs towards the end? There's obviously the Tim had mentioned "You're All My Children." That's actually Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Right.
When he goes into the
that's
backyard
true.
scene at the end when hot dogs are exploding and shit like that. Scary
Great
stuff.
moment. There's the scene. Hot dogs exploding are always scary. The scene where the tongue gets slipped through the telephone. That was a call from the
Nightmare on Elm
first
Street
one,
1.
right?
Yeah, the opening of this movie is a callback to the first one. Because in the first one, we
Yes,
see
it
him
is,
working
with
on a
the
glove and
fish
everything
glove.
like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. We mentioned Screw Your Pass is there. The highway scene kind of seemed like it was like a fill-up type thing.
By any
What
chance,
else?
for Screw Your Pass, was that the girl from the original? By the way,
Good question. I don't know.
I didn't notice it, but I was like, that would have been awesome if that was the same girl.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the original cast is at Chase's death.
Running in the hallways, or she actually said that too. That'd be fucking great.
Oh, that would have been great. Yeah, at Chase's funeral, there's the original cast. You see basically everyone but Johnny Depp, and then Tuesday Night is there.
Yeah, yeah, that's always dumb.
Well,
Get her out of there.
Well, Wes Craven had mentioned why he apparently because he prefers her version of Kristen.
Oh, now listen, hot take. I sometimes prefer that. That's my
We
that was my
both
first-
agreed that we actually preferred that version of Kristen.
I do. Like she's just like I don't know, cute and dear.
Yeah,
It's so weird. Like
but for what? But he said that she played her she played her closer to how he wrote her, and not how she was
Oh,
portrayed
yeah.
in the film.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was his
Yeah,
little another little like shot.
Text would say as much. Do you love John? How much do you love John Saxton?
Oh, come on.
Oh, John.
We would try
I
to
love
put
John
we would try to
Saxon
put him in Freddy's Nightmares.
It's true.
It's true.
Black Christmas.
It's true.
Black Christmas is coming around. Have you ever seen Black Christmas? I love John Saxton.
I've never seen that. I need to see that.
Isn't there like 10 of them?
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. I've seen all the Black Christmases.
Okay.
Just the first one is the best, of course. It is like icy cold, very. I can't watch that movie at night. Actually, it's very scary. The second one, the remake, is terrible. It is like, it is, but it's bad good in my way, and I love all the actresses in it. It's like a great cast. It's just very weird and like very bloody and just like not a great movie, but it's very
That's
fun.
just sorority, right? They kill sorority.
Yeah, it's the sorority one, but there's like 3 of them, and then the most recent one is like very woke, PG-13. Terribly written and just like very stupid. And I like that director and I like that writer. And I was like, I don't know what happened. It was really bad. That's my hot take on Black Christmas. I love John Saxton.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, how many people have fought, like Tim had mentioned, Bruce Lee and Freddy Krueger?
John Saxton.
That's true.
And he looks exactly the same.
Yes, he does. It's weird how he does.
He didn't age from Enter the Dragon to fucking New Nightmare. He didn't age.
Yeah. He was like Hogan at one point.
Oh my god. He was a very like, he looked like Zac Efron when he was young. He's like these gorgeous, dreamy 1960s like teen heartthrob. Then he started going like bald, but then like every man in the 70s and 60s, you wore a toupee. And then he owned that and would be like, I got 2 toupees for you. I got the aged one that makes me look a little older, and I got like my full-headed one. And he looks beautiful in all of his toupees, and I love him.
He's pretty badass. I mean, not even Chuck Norris fought Freddy and Bruce Lee. He only fought Bruce Lee.
Chuck Norris is a pussy. I'll say it. He's a Chuck Norris. Come on.
We know it. We know that.
Listen, man, I don't know. The last time you messed with somebody like David Hasselhoff, it ended up a thing for like about 6 months. So, you know, you watch out. You're going to be unhassling Chuck Norris.
I will never unhassle Chuck Norris. Ever. I stand by that.
Don't forget they did sneak Johnny Depp in there in the movie.
They did what?
They didn't sneak Johnny Depp in there.
Oh, because
they did.
Yeah, because they're showing his kill, right? Or they're definitely showing a scene from the first movie,
well,
right?
They had the cast photo. Remember the photo of the 4 the original?
Yes,
photo?
when Robert England's got the headphones on. Yeah. Right.
So they did sneak Johnny Depp in there one way or another. They got him in there.
It was in '94. What the hell was Johnny Depp doing at this point in his career? I mean, they were like, hey, we already got you back 3 years ago. We're not doing this again.
No, he's doing
there is actually a story behind this. So Wes Craven wanted to approach Johnny Depp and ask him to come back, but he felt intimidated because he hadn't talked to Johnny in a while, and Johnny Depp had become so like he was big in the 90s. That was his decade. And so he just didn't ask him, and they ran into each other years later. And I think he told Johnny Depp that, and Johnny Depp was like, well, "You should have asked. I would have come back."
Little did he know that Johnny Depp was a weirdo that was like, "I'll do it. Yeah, of course."
Well, look what he had going: Benny and June, Gilbert Grape, Ed Wood, Don Juan DeMarco, all around that time. So
see, he was dying for something.
Summer of Death.
Yeah,
that was 93 and 94 only.
Okay, so
look at Finn's little Rex. Finn's little.
Yeah. This is Bunny. That's Finn.
Bunny says that's his totem.
I was gonna say I thought that was Rocket Raccoon for a second.
It's Bunny the Sloth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I guess. Where would you guys rank this movie then, in terms of what we've seen so far?
Me personally, I rank it high. I think it's a little boring and slow. Heather Langenkamp, as much as she's gorgeous and she's beautiful, she's not like the best actress. But the writing,
she was better than she was in the original, though.
She absolutely is. It's just like it could be. She was never like gonna be a. Really, I've seen like a bunch of her stuff, but I was like, I just like her delivery though. I like her and just like her like some of her stuff when her husband's like passed, and she like has the vomit scene, and she's like, I want to see it for myself. Like she gets some more conviction.
Mhm.
And her son, and she's clearly a mother because she's like very good with her son. I was like, I kind of like that, seeing that with her. Like, I need you to be like good at the hospital so you can come back to me. And I was like, that's so sweet. It's so sweet. It's like one of the sweeter of the Freddy movies too.
Yeah.
I love it, and I just get scary at the end. And I remember again talk about going video shopping when like the height of like me and my family going to pick up movies. It was like the Frankenstein with Kenneth Branagh and Robert De Niro. That Frankenstein movie really scared me. That trailer did, and the videos of that scared me. And then New Nightmare was all over the shelf, and I was like, I can't do this. This is like, it's just the eyes, which is terrifying. And you're like, nope, I'm not gonna look at that section. It's so scary. It's comforting. It's like early 90s comfort to me. And I was like, and then Wes Craven just does Scream. And if you do Scream, Wes Craven's New Nightmare back to back, the similarities are going to be like outstanding, because I think it's like Californian. I don't know. The sheen is the same. The cinematography, a little bit of meta. I don't know, sassy writing kind of. It's so I think we should talk about that more, like the Scream and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Like that's a double feature. That's just and like see what he was doing.
Mhm.
Don't watch Vampire in Brooklyn. Just go watch Scream and Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
It's true.
Yeah, I think that without this movie, we don't get Scream. Like this was his test run. This was, can I do a meta narrative movie about a franchise I started? And he could. It was. I think this is a very successful movie in what it does. And I think then that allows him to go, okay, let me take it up a notch. Let me do a meta-narrative movie about the entire horror genre. And that's how he gets Scream. So I think this, for horror film history, this is a very important movie, because without it, we don't have the Scream franchise.
Yeah, it's very
like
mature.
The beta. It was like the beta version of like the
beta, yeah.
Exactly.
Commentary, the meta commentary on horror. Yeah, that's interesting. But it also, like, the fact that what he doesn't do in Scream was there's no supernatural presence in Scream, but yet he introduces it in this film, and it doesn't seem wonky, like, at all.
Because it gets like just forced. Not, I don't know. It is weird. It is just subtle, like suburbia,
Mhm.
California suburbia, but then just like traces of like, I don't know. Yeah, the fear and just a hand. Like the first movie though, very much like just a hand, just a shadow. And then we go full force at the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess, Tim, did you have anything with the Scream New Nightmare? Do you feel that there's a connection there or not? Or
I can see it. You can see definitely the direction he was heading in. The Scream is one of my favorite movies of all time. So, yeah, I can see it. Where would I rank this one, though? I mean, it has to be at the back. Like I said, to me, it was very slow and very boring at a lot of paces. But the stuff with Freddy, though, was fantastic. This wasn't enough for me, personally. I don't like that kid. The acting was a little too out there for me. It's at the end, but it's not the worst. Definitely not the worst.
What would you put this above? Since you don't like this movie, what would you put this above? I'm just, without revealing at the end of this whole thing, we'll do the whole.
Now, if I tell you I would put
ranking.
2 above this one, you're going to say I'm fucking crazy.
No, I wouldn't anymore.
That's a choice.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
Because 2 has such a nostalgia thing for me. I always love watching 2 over like this one. So it's definitely going to be, real quick, 1, 3, 4, 2.
No, we haven't gotten Freddy versus Jason.
This one 5. Oh yeah.
Well, no. For the 7 that we've reviewed,
Yeah.
We won't add any other 2, and I have a feeling we're all going to have a universally one at the bottom. But
yeah,
Yeah,
1, 3, 4, 2. I'd probably throw this one somewhere around here. 5.
Yeah.
Dead. Around there, right around there somewhere.
Okay. And Ginny, where would you? I'm fascinated by this. Where would you have this movie exactly? Like,
this is weird. And also because again, there was a weird part of my life. Not a weird part. It was just in high school that we just would watch. I don't know. We had it. We bought them. We had them. We rented them. The video store we just took them from. We watched a lot of 5 and 6 and New Nightmare. It's like the weakest ones in the series. Me and my sister kind of fell asleep to, and the second one too. But I do think sometimes it was because the ones I would never finish was like what put me to sleep. So it would be like part 5 and this one. So you kind of watch the first half and then so when I watch that last end of this movie, especially, I'm always like, oh my gosh, this is like, oh, this is freaky. Oh, this is like weird effects. But I never used to like, I was just watching Heather Langenkamp live her life. And then I was like, this is nice. Good night. And then, so it's weird. So nostalgia, I can't. But I do watch this one every year too. I genuinely love it. And film class, I talk about it too all the time. But then I think I love personally 4 is my number 1. It just kind of is. And then 1, I think this one is my 3rd. No, it's this or 3 or like sort of switching for places. And I love 3, and everyone loves 3, but I sort of have special ones that I like. And I love 4 the most. I do love 4 the most. I love Freddy vs. Jason too. It's hard. But as of now,
no, you got to leave that one out for now. That one's not in the mix yet.
So I will probably have to say 3 is 3. This is 4. And then you get like 5 and then 3's dead, right? What am I missing out?
Not
2.
mine, but...
2. 2 is exhausting sometimes. I think 2 is last. It's weird. It's like asking me to choose my children. They fluctuate all the time.
Okay. Well, Tim knows for years. I used to scream and rant about 2 being the worst, and then over time, that has drastically changed. Sometimes
3 has worse characters. Sometimes 3 has Dr. Neil, and I go, I don't care about you, Neil. Get out of here. I care about everybody in 2. I love everyone in part 2.
Do you really?
Like Jesse.
No, you don't. Yeah, you don't. It's just Jesse. That's really it. Lisa,
really
maybe.
I really
don't.
Like
the nostalgia factor is huge, and 2 has major nostalgia factor. That's why it's not going to be the worst for me. It never will be, no matter how many gay undertones there are and
I love it.
Crazy stuff.
I love my gay son.
So.
Jason, where do you have Wes Craven's New Nightmare? I'm kind of just curious because I think it's an interesting thing to talk about because of how you said divisive this movie could have been. Even though, like on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is 77, the audience score is 67.
Yeah,
so I guess that kind of tells you like
and
where
I think it's that. I think it's because the audience was disappointed because it's not really a Freddy proper movie. This is definitely better than 5, hands down. This is definitely better than 6, hands down. I have a soft spot for 2, but I think if I'm looking at just movies, I would say this is a better movie. I agree with Tim. I like the nostalgia of it. I got a soft spot for that movie. I'm never going to trash that movie. I think I was its defender when we did that episode. But I think if because of my history with this movie, it being my first one seeing in the theater, it would probably eke over 2. But like 1, 3, and 4, no, it can't. No. 1, 3, and 4 can't be touched. But I don't. This is a movie that was meant to rival 1. This movie is a companion piece to 1. It's a meta commentary on the franchise with 1. So I don't think Wes Craven ever went out and intended to make the best Freddy movie. He just wanted to make a Freddy movie that made you think about the mechanics of a Freddy movie. And I think this movie does that.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think what at least we perceive what Wes was trying to do here with this, he knocks it out of the park with what he was trying to do. I don't think it's not 1. Like for me, I actually have 3 at number 1 currently as my favorite. I have the original at number 2.
That's healthy. That's all very healthy.
Yeah,
but
I have 4 at number 3, and it's close though because I have such a unique I have the nostalgia thing for 4 also and for 3, but I'm trying to hold that back like as much as I can, like forget that part and just as what I think the movie is. And then I kind of think that's where New Nightmare comes in. Like I have it easily over Freddy's Dead, which has definitely fallen off this time as we're doing this. And 5 I have as dead last. And then Freddy's Dead I have after that. Then I have 2. And then I would say New Nightmare is above those 3. It's right like in the middle of the pack. Out of the 7 movies, I have it like there. But I agree though. I wouldn't compare it to 4, 1, or 3 at all. Like I consider I like those movies like much more than this one. But it's because it's just drastically different. So, yeah, that's where I think I have it at least at the moment.
And I think that's a good place for it. I don't like. I think 1, 3, and 4. I think of the holy trilogy, right? Of this franchise. Those are the 3 that one of them is going to be your favorite, right? If you like this franchise, 1, 3, or 4, one of those is your favorite, and one of them is your second favorite, and one of them is your third favorite, right? Those are always the top of the charts. But I'll say, like, I thought 5, I think, is a bad movie. Mm-hmm. 6, and that's production issues, right? When we talk about the production issues that had 6, I think, is a bad movie because it misses the tone and it's a cartoon. This I wouldn't consider a bad movie. So even though it's like mid on my list, I would still say that this is one of the good ones.
Yeah, I think we have 4 out of 7 good ones because 2 is 2, and regardless of whatever it is, I don't think it's a good movie.
It's not a good movie, but it's an interesting movie, which that's what like elevates it for me. But you're right. I think it's probably the best of the worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. We have anything else before any other parting shots or anything like that before we wrap this thing up?
I don't think so.
No, we're good.
I love this movie so much. This is quality. I don't know. Technically, this might be one of the better movies. As a Nightmare on Elm Street movie go, I don't know, but like Wes Craven movie, this is top of his list. Yeah, and in horror, I would argue, I think it's a great horror film. It's so well done.
Yeah, fully agreed. Then I guess we'll wrap this thing up then. Jason, I guess 2 weeks we'll be back with this one again.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll be doing Freddy versus Jason, which I think we're all excited about. And actually, Ed and I have the same story because we saw that together.
Yes, we did.
So we have the same.
Tim, you were there too, weren't you?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God!
Really rolling deep that day. Yeah, we were rolling deep.
Wow. Yeah, no, we had a lot of people.
Wait a minute. What came first? That or the reboot disaster? What came first?
Freddy vs. Jason came way before that.
Okay, I'm totally lost with the disaster movie. I can't even remember it.
Yeah, no. Freddy vs. Jason was It was 2003.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
wow, that long ago already. Jesus.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of nuts. It was that long ago.
Yeah, almost 20 years. No, almost 20 years ago.
Let's see. 13, 21 years ago. Wow.
That's insane.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I feel so old. I'm the guy at the end of Last Crusade when he chooses unwisely.
Well, all right. Well, thanks for joining us as always. We'll be back in 2 weeks to tackle Freddy versus Jason. That's next up in our deep dive. Tim, Jenny, any final thoughts before we sign off here?
I'm very mad that I missed doing the part one. Very mad that I missed it now. I was here for 2 and fucking 5 and I missed the first one. That sucks, but okay. I'm still having fun though.
So good.
That's because
I'm
my
still
wife
enjoying it.
decided to only do the one she likes.
No, I couldn't.
But she's never seen any of the other ones. That's
You
crazy.
gotta fix that.
No, she has. No, she has.
I couldn't make it that night for some reason. Something had happened that night. And I was like, shit, I missed the show. Like, all right, oh well.
Mhm.
I came back for the ones that made like 2. I made it for that one.
Well, you have a deep nostalgia for it, though.
Of course. 2, 3, and 4 are like embedded in my skull as like just this pure nostalgia movie. So it's fun. And 1 scared the shit out of me when I first saw it. So didn't get used to it, but it's all right.
Yeah. Jenny, anything before we sign off?
No, I'm excited for Freddy versus Jason.
You're
Yeah,
excited
I
for
love it.
Craven also, though. So
I am
let's
very
not-
excited for Craven. Oh, guys, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have so much. We're gonna have such a good time.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
that should be fun. All right. Well, to plug Granny's Peach Tea, Granny's Peach Tea will be back on Friday. We will be actually slightly altering things because our movie of the week will be Craven the Hunter. So we will be diving into that, as well as I guess at that point we'll have 3 episodes of Creature Commandos to discuss at that point. So you can join us then. And again, in 2 weeks we'll be back with Freddy versus Jason. So we'll see you then. Peace.